how values change over time. It is no surprise to any of us out there that organizations are at the whims of time. There are so many things that are going to affect your company's values and your organizational activity that it's no surprise that they change as time goes on. It doesn't mean necessarily that they're bad changes, but we are aware that history and our identity is shaped by experiences, the people who we have them with, and our reactions to events. Let's have a quick talk about some of the ways values could be changing in your organization over time. The starting point you have to start with is what events are going on in the world? What is it that affects the countries or societies where your headquarters are? If we were talking about a space where there's a lot of austerity, perhaps you're making very severe cuts within your organization. If you're in a society that absolutely embraces the idea of mass consumerism and is very much in the midst of luxury, maybe you make very different choices for your organization. But history's events and how that shapes the wider society affects the choices we make internally. And that is going to affect each person who works for your organization as well as the leaders, which means that the decisions we make are going to be affected by time and the events in the society. Number two, how people are brought up and what their values are when they join your organization. When people join your organization, sometimes in the past they would start at 16, work until they were 60 and retire. And their whole working life was dedicated within that organization, limiting the resources that they had that could shape them into having different opinions and different values. Today, we have a very different arrangement for work, with most millennials assuming that they're going to have at least 5 or 6 careers over the course of their life. Some people are even staying within a job for several months rather than year blocks, maybe even decades, which would have been expected in the past. So we're having a lot more movement within our workforce, which is changing the way our values stay consistent. Talking about who's in your organization, let's talk about some generational differences. Baby boomers versus millennials. There's quite a gap in how we see ourselves and how we hold our values. What do we value? Millennials want to be empowered to do things. They have a really strong sense that they have things that they can commit to, but they're also expecting incredibly fast turnaround on evaluations, criteria, jobs. They want things to be incredibly fast-paced. If they're not engaged, they don't really want to be in the space. On the other hand, baby boomers came in with a very different set of values, one that is a lot more heavier and a lot more slower paced. They want to do a good job and absolutely are committed. There's a level of commitment that is very different from millennials. There's a sense of time being something that is invested, and therefore patience was something that was a requirement. So the way those two groups of people and the values they're bringing to a space are quite different. So in an organization, you need to be aware that who you have, how they're working together is going to affect whether or not things are going to hold certain values. Next, we're going to talk about the things that matter in order to keep a company afloat. Some companies are all about innovation. They're about creating new and better and greater and different things. Others have separated themselves out due to the service that they provide, the excellence in the communication that they have, and the way they make their consumers or clients feel. What you value might remain the same for generations. How you want to execute values, as in how you want to embody them, make them a reality, that could be changing quite a lot whilst you as an organization are holding those values for generations. That is also a possibility. How you maintain those values is different. It is about a concerted, conscious effort to maintain those values as the central focus of your decision-making and the things that you do. How your actions are an embodiment of those values. If you're able to maintain a consistent effort where you're embodying a particular value over time and the conversation still revolves around it, people recognize it in you, and you're ensuring that your focus remains on it, those values, those are the ones that will stay regardless of the time that passes, but they will be executed in different manners. Those are the ways that values change over time.